Hello everyone. I am spending my day in the office grading and wanted to start working ahead on your future weeks. I noticed that there were some folders that were a little bit empty, and I know some of you do like to work ahead. So I'm recording this video to walk you through accessing databases through Western's website. Many of you may already know how to do so. If you do, that's great. You don't need to watch this video. But if just my mention of the word databases sends a chill up your spine because you don't know what I'm talking about, then this video is for you. I want to direct you to two particular databases that we subscribe to as Western and that part of your student fees help to pay for access to. And they are rich resources for you to know about and to use, particularly for assignments like your persuasive speech assignment. So I'm going to walk through how to get there from Western's main page, and then what both of them look like. I won't go into detail on how to use them. That's a separate video, and if you've ever had a training with our reference librarian, Sam Wood, you will know what that looks like, and he can walk you through it. But I wanted to give you a quick look at the resource and show you ways to browse, if for no other reason than to brainstorm for topics. Alright, we're going to start on Western's main page. And what I like to do is go to the magnifying glass in the upper right corner. I then do a search for databases. You can get here through typing the library or going to Student Life and then Library, but I find that this is quicker. So type databases into the search box in the upper right corner of Western's page. You are then going to be taken to the link to databases, and you're going to click that. And you are going to scroll down. You have a list of databases that we subscribe to. Again, your dollars help to pay for. And two that I want to alert you to for this particular persuasive assignment are, the first one, opposing viewpoints in context. If you click this, it will open up a new window with the opposing viewpoints database. By database, we are simply referring to a repository of information. And the great thing about databases is that because there are associated fees with access to them, they are warehouses of information that is more credible, more legitimate than anything that you can find through a simple Google search. This is not to say that Google is a bad search engine. It's a great search engine, but it doesn't weed out the chaff, if you will. It doesn't keep out the bad people, the bad stuff. And a database means that people are authenticating the information that is in them, and so it is more trustworthy. What I like about this particular web database is that you can start with browse issues. So you'll see here under the left top area there's this link called browse issues. So if you're stuck on what to do for your topic for your persuasive speech, I did send you a link to procon.org, which is another good website. The two database websites probably are a little bit more exhaustive, meaning that they have more options, more ideas. So you can scroll through and see that there are tons of issues that you could tackle. And I'm scrolling, lots of information. Hopefully there's something in that list that piques your interest. So let's say that I am interested in one of these topics. Let's see what I could possibly pick for this example. I'm going to go with censorship. As an English teacher and somebody who knows that there have been books that have been banned that I have enjoyed, this is a topic that I would find interesting to learn more about. I click on censorship, and this page is going to direct me to the number of resources that this particular database has on this topic. It is also going to show me featured viewpoints. Viewpoints are more opinion pieces. Academic journals, which are more scholarly, written by people in the field, and then it goes to images, videos, references, etc. So those are the different types of information that you can get on the topic of censorship. The great thing about using a database, not only is it more trustworthy, but it is also easier to cite your sources, and as this speech requires citations and research, this will make your life easier. So if I go into, let's say I want to do an academic journal, and I find that I like one of these topics. So we know that in America we have the right to freedom of speech, and that is pretty broad, but there are other countries where people do not have that right. If they say too many critical things about the government, the people in power, they can have access taken away, they can be imprisoned, and in worst case scenarios, they can be killed. So if I wanted to do some research on censorship, China might be a good place for me to start, because I know, having read about it and listened to news about it, that China has a different idea of what's allowable for free speech than we do. So I might like to take a look at this article. And let's say that I decide that I want to use it. I would then note the areas that I want to use, maybe copy and pasting some of that information into my speech outline, noting that if I do that, that I'm retaining quotation marks around it to indicate that these are not my words and I am borrowing that information from someone else. But the great thing about this is that you have citation tools built in. So I go up here, say I'm using this particular article, I go to citation tools, and it pops up automatically by default a MLA 8th edition citation. And all I have to do is copy paste that and put it in the bibliography of my formal outline. So I've covered myself there by telling my reader and my professor that this is the information. And then I would need to make sure that I also verbally tell my audience members where this information is coming from. That is fantastic. That is so time-saving and so much less of a headache than the way I used to have to do it in college. So this is Opposing Viewpoints in Context. The other database that I wanted to alert you to is called SIRS Issues Researcher. So I went back to that page that had the alphabetical list of the databases. I'll go to SIRS, and much like Opposing Viewpoints, this is also going to offer you brainstorming ideas. So unlike the Opposing Viewpoints, which was over on the left, the link to browsing issues is over on the right, so view all issues. And again, you are confronted with an alphabetical list of all the potential debatable topics that you might be interested in. So if I were interested in electronic cigarettes, I'm seeing many more people vaping than I used to, and have seen conflicting information about the dangers of it. So if I wanted to talk and find out more about that, because I've heard that some states are considering banning vaping smoke in restaurants, because apparently it's allowable some places, maybe I do a topic like this. The nice thing about the SIRS Issues Researcher is that it will give you viewpoints, so that if you're not certain how you want to construct your speech, the main points that you want to focus on, if you had Viewpoint 1, electronic cigarettes are not only safer, that they aid in smoking cessation, so you're kind of pro e-cigarettes, you might use this line of reasoning. If you're against it, you might go over here and say, they're bad, they're just as bad, maybe not quite as bad, but they're still bad. Then you might follow this particular pattern. So that's one of the nice things about this particular database. So if I go into one of these viewpoints, I click into it a little bit more, I'm going to find information that I can possibly use to help me set up my argument. And like the Opposing Viewpoints database that we just looked at, they also have cite tools. So whereas Opposing Viewpoints was on the right-hand side, this one's on the left. I go to Cite. I think for this one you are presented, you're presented with MLA and APA. I copy-paste that, I put it in my bibliography. Again, I have to also remember to verbally tell my audience that I got my information from this website, and that is coming from the Wall Street Journal Online. We've heard of the Wall Street Journal. It's held to certain journalistic standards. We hopefully can trust it. So that helps to, again, ease my job. That is a very quick, drilled down overview of accessing two really useful databases, especially for this persuasive speech assignment. I wanted to put that up there in case you are looking ahead and thinking about your persuasive speech topics. And if you do want more information, you want me to go over this in a little bit more detail, reach out to me and maybe we can set something up either on phone or on Blackboard Collaborate, or I can direct you to who to get some more information from the library with. All right, have a great rest of your week and or weekend, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.